any opportunity to celebrate, it's always diamonds up.
Yeah, we're back at it. Let's go. Come on. Get the energy up. Let's go. Welcome back, players, lap gods, VIPs, loadies. Yes. IPCs, all my people in here, man. Welcome back, Babbitt OTB, Blap God, I see you. RJC, Anush is in here. Jay Keys, of course. Appreciate you, dog. Jesse Jose, Anush is in here. S Monster, good morning. Hope you guys are doing well, man. First, I want to say, if you're here, definitely appreciate you. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, all that YouTube shit. Let's get the algorithm going. Yeah, we've been having fun here. We've been having fun here on YouTube, man. Really cool discussion yesterday, guys. That was fun. I think that a lot of the stuff that I spoke about yesterday it's always been kind of on my mind, but lately it's been like really something that I've been just really paying attention to. You know, there's so much there's so many people pursuing things these days. I mean, they always have, but you know, there's a large number of musicians, entrepreneurs, music producers, just everyone, all of us that are in here are all dealing with something. And you know, it's the pursuit of success, the pursuit of happiness, and that's what we're all looking for and what we're all sort of chasing. And I think if we stop chasing it, that's the beginning mindset. That's the beginning approach to approaching all of this in a different way. Because like I said yesterday, whatever people are doing right now are just obviously not working, right? It's not working. The conscious mind stuff, the typical processes that you learn, it's not working. It's not working. There's a lot of people that are unhappy and confused and frustrated, and you know, it's okay to feel those things, but I think in the industry, speaking specifically in the creative industry, because a lot of you guys are creative people, how do you navigate as a creative person? And I think that's one of the main topics of discussion, and one of the things that we should all focus on is, how do I navigate life as a creative person? And so the default, based on what we were told when we were growing up, was, you know, the usual shit, like make money, get a job, etc., etc. And of course those are important, and of course you need those, but that's not where the story ends, right? I think the story ends there for a lot of people. It's they live to make money, and then you retire when you're old. Life shouldn't be about that. It's not about it's not about the future, only the future, and it's certainly not about the past. It's about the present moment. You guys are gonna hear me talk about that a lot. Being present, present moment, the present moment being the only thing that's actually real. You're gonna hear me talk about that a lot today. So anyway, I appreciate you guys. RJC, good morning to you. Really appreciate you guys tuning in to these live streams. I know you don't have to. You know, some of you guys have work or school or whatever, you know, responsibilities you have, and so for you to take time to be here with me and with us I really appreciate that. So what are we gonna do today? So we're gonna do some Q&A. We'll do some Q&A, and I want to answer you guys' questions. You know, like I said, these live streams are kind of like an extension of my podcast, or my former podcast, Blap-Chat. You know, I get to just be here and talk to you guys and do it live, and we get to start our day off like this. I personally really like to start my day off like this, just getting the conversation out, and it just feels really good. It feels really fulfilling to know that we have potential here to help someone, and I love that. So if you guys are in the chat room right now, go ahead and ask your questions. You can ask anything. You guys are responsible for steering today's conversation in whatever direction you want. It doesn't always have to be music related. It really could be anything. So I'm going to try to knock out as many questions today as possible. And I'm super excited about that. So yeah, don't be shy. You know, there are no silly questions. There are no weird things. Like, just ask a question, or if you have comments on anything, please partake in the chat room. So hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, all that YouTube shit. You already know. We'll get the algorithm going. So let's start with my man Slaya. Okay. So Slaya says, when you do splits with an indie artist like Russ, how is it different than doing splits with an artist signed to a major label? Good point. Is it different than how you explained the other day? So, well, first off, I want to welcome S Monster for becoming a VIP Lodi. Welcome S Monster. You are officially a VIP Lodi. Welcome, my G. So, splits. How do splits work with an indie artist like Russ compared to a major artist? So, okay. I'll give it to you from two perspectives, right? Number one, the splits process, the actual process, is pretty much almost the same. Where once the song is sold, and once, you know, we all agree that like this independent artist wants to use a particular beat, and we want to move forward with that and start papering the contract, and, you know, get to invoices and all that stuff. First order of business, regardless if they're major or independent, is the lawyers get looped in. So my lawyer, Vinny Kumar, I let him know. I say, hey, Russ wants, you know, to use this beat. You know, let's make it happen. So then Vinny, my lawyer, will connect with Russ's lawyer. And, you know, because we've done business many times in the past, they already know each other. They have a rapport. They have, you know, certain things that they agree on already, because we've done this so many times in the past. So it's relatively easy for us. But in a general sense, the lawyers would talk to each other, and that's no different than if it was a major placement. And so the only real difference, Slaya, between independent and major is when you're dealing with a major artist, there's usually more people involved. You have more label people that might have an opinion, and also it's a label, so they're gonna, you know, the contract's gonna typically be a little bit more intense and a little probably longer. So you're probably dealing with a more intricate, intense type of producer agreement when it's a major, because you have, you know, points that are going to the major label, and then they have to make that clear, and then they have to talk about clearances and usage and, you know, being able to use my name. And then we have to talk about like giving credit and what royalties we get percent. So it's all very similar. It's just a more complex version of what we are doing anyway. So that would be the main difference, Leia, is usually major label contracts are longer and more intense, and most of them take longer to execute. But those would be the main differences. Either way, and I always say this, you know, I always recommend like having a lawyer working with you or working for you is probably one of the most valuable things you can have in this industry. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. All right, let me scroll up because a bunch of you guys have some really cool questions here. I'm going to try to get to as many as possible, okay? Like that? Okay. Anyway, that wasn't appropriate for that beat. Okay. I only do it to like gangster West Coast shit. All right. Samuel Naron. Oh, you look Filipino. What up, buddy? Samuel Naron. Can you give advice for an upcoming Filipino producer? There you go. I'm now in B Club and I was good. And I was wondering how I could break the barriers of music. Okay. So, Samuel, do you live in the States or do you live back home in the Philippines? That's my question, number one. But either way, you know, this applies. So it's the same advice I give for any producer, whether you're Filipino or whether you're white or black or whatever color, whatever genre, wherever you're from. It's the same advice over and over. And first, I want to say good for you for joining Beat Club. I really commend Gary and Timbaland and the whole team over there for what they're doing at B Club. I think it's really cool that they're bringing producers and creative people together. And, you know, Tim is a legend. He's a GOAT. So they have a lot of really great resources that they can bring to the table. So step number one, Samuel, I think you're moving definitely in the right direction for joining B Club. Now, for an upcoming producer, I would say this, man. You know, everyone has a different story. Everyone has their different passions and different method of becoming successful, or just, I don't even want to say successful. I just want to say like different methods of how to pursue their career. And most of the time it's always the same for a lot of people. You know, make the music. This is, and you might not like my answer, but make music. Don't worry so much about what will happen. Enjoy the process of making music and connect with your peers. And when I say peers, I mean, don't worry about getting to Drake. Talk to, you know, the rapper that DM'd you and said, yo, what up, dog? I saw a video on your Instagram and that beat you posted sound fire. You got more? Talk to that person. Or someone in the chat room, yo, Samuel, you're Filipino. I'm Filipino too. You know, do you live in the Philippines? What part of the Philippines you from? Oh, okay, cool. I'm from here, blah, blah, blah. Talk to that person, right? And so that's what I mean when I say peers. So talk to your peers, be open, be a human being, enjoy the process of making music, make the music. Don't worry about the future. Don't worry so much about what will happen. Don't worry about it. You can think about it and you can be excited about it, but don't worry about it. And the fourth thing would be acquire as much knowledge as possible. And in acquiring that knowledge, you want to just keep trying things, keep trying stuff. You got to try stuff. And that concept is true for every industry, not just being a producer, not just being a musician. You have to get to the failures before getting to the actual thing. You have to crawl before you walk, and that's the process for all of us, for everyone. Successful people, kind of successful people, people that are on the come up. We're a human being. We live on Earth. We all have to go through that same process. And I'm gonna get a little deep for a second. I just had a daughter, so I'm like really inspired by like how quickly she's growing and learning. And so when you think about this, right? When you're a baby, or when you're a toddler or an infant, and you start to learn how to walk, right? When a baby gets up and they're taking their first steps, and they fall, right? They don't care. They don't care. Parents don't care. At least if you're not a piece of shit parent. But the people around don't care, because it's part of the process of learning how to walk. And there's no judgment, right? The baby's not judging itself. The parents aren't judging the baby. No one's judging this toddler, this infant, for tripping and falling, for trying to walk, because they're learning. It's their first time. And so at some point, we've lost that freedom. We've lost the idea of feeling like we don't have that freedom to fall first. And that's probably one of the top reasons why people don't end up pursuing what their heart is telling them to pursue, what they want to pursue. Because they just, as an adult, you've become programmed and trained to think that it's bad to fall. And that's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. People aren't willing to fall to learn how to walk. People aren't willing to launch a product because it has to be perfect, because they don't want to trip while taking that first step. And that's the difference between a Jeff Bezos, a successful producer, whoever you want to choose. That's the difference between that person and the person who hasn't achieved that yet, or hasn't grasped the concept of how to pursue something. And that's what it is, right? It's like I said, we're all pursuing something. And you can't pursue something if you don't take that first step. And if you judge yourself on that first step, then you're not pursuing anything. You're just your brain is tricking you. You're telling yourself that it has to be perfect, and you have to that first step has to be perfect when that's impossible. And no one's expecting that of you, right? So I know I'm getting a little deep. I might be veering off a little bit, Samuel, on your question, but I think this is extremely important. But the fact that you're here in my chat room asking a question, the fact that you're part of Beat Club, the fact that you're curious about this tells me that you, Samuel, are definitely on the right track. Because you're finding out about things, you're curious, you're in the chat, you're asking a question. That means you're actively pursuing. So I want you to, Samuel, I want you to just keep pursuing this. Don't overthink this stuff. Don't worry too much about the outcome. Yeah, I'll say outcome instead of future, right? You can think about the future. There are ways to manifest by thinking about the future. But it's really not about thinking about the future. It's really about the present moment. So don't worry about the outcome. Focus on what's happening right now. Talk to your peers. Don't be afraid to talk to them. And acquire as much knowledge as possible. But most importantly, get in flow, have fun, enjoy the music making process, and make the music. Best BPM to grind boom bap beats as a beginner in boom bap. 93. Start with 93 and go from there. Mm-hmm. 93. Okay. Simon Finnick said, sampling versus making melody from scratch. Your opinion? Well, they're both great. They're both great. There's no. I would need a criteria and context on why the two need to be compared. So I can't really like super answer your question because there's no. I just need a little bit more context on like why they need to be versus one another. Like, are we comparing convenience or ease of use or results or what sounds better? So yeah, I mean, we can tackle those, but I guess for the sake of this, in a general sense, there's really no, they're both cool. That's like saying, apples versus oranges. It's like, well, what are we going for here? What's sweeter? What's more acidic? What's more enjoyable? Again, and then we're entering subjective territory. So I would say that. I would say this is a little subjective. Shada Che, thank you for asking the question, man. He said, how are you and the family? We're good. We're enjoying Miami. We're enjoying the weather here. Everything about Miami is incredible. Ramon Alberto said, adobo versus sinigang. I'll say sinigang. Me personally, oxtail sinigang is my favorite. Salmon sinigang is great. Really, any sinigang, beef sinigang, whatever. It's just really good. Adobo's good, but adobo to me is not as exciting as sinigang. But adobo is good for people who are just trying Filipino food. Like if someone asks me, like I never had Filipino food, what do you recommend? I'm gonna say adobo, chicken adobo. I'm not gonna say sinigang. Sinigang is a little more, in my opinion, like a more complex Filipino flavor profile. And I think adobo is a little straightforward. Chicken adobo feels a little more like street food. And so I always recommend like the street food first because it's a little more of a flavor profile, familiar flavor profile. Not to say that sinigang isn't, but that's how I would compare the two. G has an interesting question here. G says, have you ever made music inspired by a paranormal experience? It gets spooky over here in the 505. No, I haven't. And I don't really know if I want to. It sounds a little scary, man. Don't scare me, dude. D Mars says, my melodies always sound too loopy. I always get stuck after 4 bars and don't know how to make the melody more interesting. Any tips? If you've watched my streams, D Mars, when I'm making loops, one thing I like to try is, instead of adding more stuff, try manipulating what you already have. So take that 4-bar loop, right? And just take the loop and then copy it, duplicate it, right? So then you have another 4 bars. And then manipulate that duplication, that 4 bars. Manipulate it. you can try pitching minus 12, transpose minus 12. You can transpose plus 12 to go into a higher, transpose. You can half time it. You can time stretch it to see if anything interesting happens. You can time stretch it plus 12. You can time stretch it minus 12. That's usually my go-to, is I go into the 4 directions. I do plus 12. Cool. What does that sound like? I go minus 12. What does that sound like? And then I go, halftime. Let me time stretch it, double the time stretch. Let's try that. All right, now let's divide the time stretch in half. Let's make it 50% faster. See what that sounds like. And so I'll stretch it all the way to the edge, and then I'll dial it back a little bit, depending on, what my subconscious is telling me. So try that, dude. Just got to experiment. But that's personally for me, that's kind of my go-to when I'm like, I feel like something's a little boring and I want to inject some weird shit into it. I'll just copy it, paste it, and then fuck around with the paste. Just time stretch, transpose. You can do that in any DAW. You know what I mean? Okay, Samuel Naran said, well, first, Ricksta said, did you make the Stormzy Wiley flow? Yes, I did. Thank you, brother. Samuel Naran said, can you give advice for upcoming Filipino producer? Oh, guess what? I answered this. Sorry, Samuel, my bad. I answered you already. Okay. Let's go to RJC said, Blap God over here, Lodi over here said, Ill, I've been following everything you just said for a couple years and it legit works. That makes me super happy, RJC. And trust me, I've seen you partake since the Twitch days, and I get really happy when I see you, man, because I know you've been following for a while, and it's sounding like this is actually positively benefiting you. That makes me extremely happy. RJC said, a big thing that really helped me break out of my shell was just putting music out and sharing my process. There you go. I'm really proud of you, man. I'm really, really proud of you. The 9-5 Music Beats says, is it better to produce one style of beats or make multiple styles? Seems like most successful producers stick to one style. I make different styles, but unsure if this is the right path. So, from someone, hold on, y'all, make multiple styles, don't worry about the future, worry about the past, they call me Styles B, don't worry about the multiple style, I make boom, bap, trap, and I make the house, I got the house, I bought the house, I make the house, Beyonce house, Drake made house, his house is a mansion. From the top of the dome, I'm asking the question. 9-5, top of the head, I get live. That's my answer, bro. Nah, coming from someone who enjoys producing multiple things, don't worry about what all the big producers are doing. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Don't worry about what other people are doing. If something is calling you, it's your duty to answer that call. Okay? If something is pulling you in, it is your responsibility as a human being on earth to partake, to respond. That's your job. That's your duty. Okay? If you make trap beats and you enjoy that, fine. But if your soul is pulling you and saying, dude, I know you like Latin music. Why don't you go ahead and give that a try? I know you like it. Why don't you try it? Don't be afraid. it's your responsibility to engage. Listen to what your soul is telling you. Listen to what your passion is telling you. If your soul is saying, dude, trap music's great, this is awesome, thank you for like doing this, but like I want to try some other stuff, let's try some other stuff, then if that genuinely excites you, then you better go do it. You better go do it. D-Man BNX said, when are you going to make listening sessions of your subscribers' beats loops? Very, very soon, D-Man. We're going to have a sort of feedback stream that we're going to start doing for my Squad of Night NFT holders, and then also for my VIPs and loadies here on YouTube that are members, and of course IPCs. So we're going to take all of that into one section, and then we're going to start doing some, you know, just play some music. Like I did it for a little while when I was on Twitch, where it was less of feedback but more of like, let's play music and vibe, and you know, I'll have comments here and there, and that's probably more of the style that I'm gonna take, the approach I'm gonna take, because to critiquing music takes a long time. You know, if I'm gonna critique it, like we're gonna have like a 10-15 minute conversation. I mean, that's basically what we were doing for my Pass the Aux sessions when I used to go on tour. And so it's very time consuming, and it's really hard to get to so many submissions. I mean, we have YouTube subscribers, we have IPC members, we have Squad of Night holders. I mean, that combined will get hundreds of submissions literally every week. And so to have hundreds of submissions but only be able to critique, you know, 5 to 10 per session is just, that's not realistic and very time consuming. So I would prefer personally to just like showcase as much music as possible, so that, you know, we can listen and see, okay, that person's dope, oh shit, you did that beat, yo, DM me, you know what I mean, DM me and hit me up, man, like I want to hear more. So I think that listening to the beats is will help you guys more. Listening to the beats is more productive in my opinion, because then we're giving more people a chance to be heard, and to be heard is more important than anything, right? I know, you know, Illmind's opinion, you know, matters to you, and you want to know my thoughts and want to know what I think, and you know, I'll do comments here and there, but to be honest, you're better off other people hearing your music than me sitting here and telling you to do a bell EQ curve on your snare. Like, that's not going to make you blow up. You know what I mean? Like, me telling you to, like, you know, throw some reverb on the hi-hat at, you know, fucking 1000 hertz, that's not going to make or break your career. You know, that's just 15 minutes of entertainment and feeling good that like Illmind is giving you feedback, which is fine. But I've seen from the past that there really is no large return on that type of time investment for anyone. Because, you know, you're going to go back and you're going to take my advice and do, but that's not going to make your beats better. That's not going to, you know, make that much of a big difference, as much as hundreds of people hearing your music and then a potential connection happening. So that's just from my observation. But again, you know, you guys know I'm super open. I'm here to help you guys. So Bufo said, take the time to hit the like, subscribe. He is correct. If you're here, let's get the YouTube algorithm going. Let's get the algorithm going, and hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell icon. I appreciate you guys, seriously. Okay, EC Ordana said, hey Illmind, one of the artists I look up to used my beat and sang on it on their IG reel. This is the first for me. How should I follow up? Well, DM him. Shoot him a DM. Be like, yo, it's my beat. I heard you, I heard you sing on my beat. Fire. I got more stuff for you. You know what I mean? Like, do it in your own way. But you should DM that person. You should contact them ASAP. Contact them ASAP. Okay. Guys, we're doing Q&A, so go ahead and ask some more questions. I'm here. Tunnel Vision said, Illmind, I want to know your whitelisted crypto / stock. You mean my portfolio? I mean, you can see my portfolio. It's not crazy. You can see my NFT portfolio if you click on my ETH address. It's not crazy at all. Like, I know I'm like super Web3, but like I'm not like a day trader. I'm not like a collector. I'm a creative person. I just like to make stuff that hopefully helps people. That's my joy. Newark Effect said, have you seen any snakes in FL so far? Oh, I thought you meant FL Studio. I was like, snakes in FL Studio? No. I've seen a lot of salamanders, a lot of lizards, but I have not seen any snakes yet, and I hope to God I don't. Okay? I hope to God I don't. Babbitt OTB just gave the alpha because I leaked some alpha in the Squad of Knights Discord. Babbitt said, how soon is the Plux VST going to be released? Ooh. Ooh. Plux? Is Plux the name of the second VST that Enrich Audio is releasing? Is Plux the follow-up to Haven? We shall see. We shall find out. One day. By the way, speaking of Haven, shout out to everyone who has Haven. Anush sent me some fire loops using Haven. A couple other, I think Ayo sent me some fire loops using Haven. Keep them coming, guys. Like, if you guys are making loops, send those packs out to your favorite producers. Send them to me. Do what you got to do. But I want to hear them. And shout to you guys that have Haven. Like, I'm really hoping that you're having fun with it. And for everyone who's experiencing some minor technical difficulties, some of you guys are having trouble finding the VST after scanning, or security measures like some Mac, new Mac OS. When you open a new program, it'll say, hey, this is not approved because it's from a third party we can't recognize. Mac is just like really over the top when it comes to security settings. So you just have to go to your security preferences and make sure you enable Haven and Enrich Audio. But outside of that, if any of you guys are having any technical questions or issues, we have a new customer service portal that's on the website. So if you go to enrichaudio.com and you click on contact, you'll notice it'll take you to a brand new form that you fill out. So just fill out the form and we'll get to you, as soon as we can. So, apologies if you're experiencing that stuff. But again, you know how it is. There's always something with the software VST world. We're just, working out the kinks. But for most of you, the majority of you guys that have Haven, it's the installation. It's good to know the installation was a breeze and using it has been a breeze. So that's good. Now you get to have fun with it. So just enjoy. I'm really stoked about the plugin. If you don't have it yet, obviously you should go get it and check it out. But enrichaudio.com. Anush also, speaking of Anush, said, The world needs an Illmind mixtape. Yeah, dude. I'm actually working on. I've been working on a lot of music, like Illmind music. I'm not gonna say anything in the form of a mixtape, but I've been working on a lot of music, and I'm gonna start releasing my own music very soon. Very soon. I'll just say that. D Mars also said, I've been following you since the acrobatic days. That's what's up. That's my boy, man. Any other Illmind acrobatic song? Yeah, man. I mean, look, anything's possible. Anything's possible. MK Ultra said, did that Haven loot pack from last week go out? It did, MK Ultra. Did you get it? You should have. Excuse me. Check your email. Check your spam. It was sent out. And by the way, side note, if you guys ordered Haven and you didn't get your download or you didn't get the loot pack, check your spam folder, because there were two emails that were sent. One email with your download link, and then another email containing the download for the loot pack that I made last week here on YouTube that you get for free. Rolly said, can you talk about the importance of having a proper song structure and its components? It's just very important. It's very important. And I wouldn't even say proper song structure. I would just say just song structure, right? The basics are, you know, having an intro, verse, hook, outro. That's your modern day song structure, is intro, verse, hook, verse, double hook, outro. Okay, so follow that lightly, use that as like a guide, but don't take it too literally, you know. Okay, let's go up and see what other questions I may have missed. Let's see here. And you know, if you're in here, go ahead and ask questions. Okay, Ricksta said, if you have sold a couple of leases on BeatStars, for example, and then another artist approaches you for exclusive rights for that same beat, can you sell it as an exclusive? I'm gonna say no. But again, you can customize whatever your contract says. So I don't know. I'm not sure what BeatStars is like a clause is or usage is. I'm pretty sure you can customize your own usage contracts, producer agreements on BeatStars or wherever you're selling. So but the obvious answer is that no. Like, I mean, if you are leasing a beat to multiple artists, that means multiple artists have it, then you can't technically sell it exclusively to someone, because it's not exclusive anymore. Because like, if they buy it, then, you know, if 50 people leased it, then 50 other people have it. So it's like, this is not exclusive to me. I just bought it exclusively, but it's not exclusive because you leased it in the past and there's a bunch of people that have this already, so it's not exclusive anymore. So that wouldn't make sense. So I guess the short answer, Ricksta, is no. Like, whatever beats you sell exclusively, do those separate, and then whatever you're leasing, that's another separate thing. You just want to be clear. I mean, if I was a rapper and I paid like extra money to own a beat exclusively from you, Ricksta, but then you told me that like 50 other rappers like have the same beat and they leased it, and like they might be shooting videos to them and putting them on free mixtapes or whatever, like I'd be pissed off. I'd be like, dude, I want a refund. This is not what I paid for, you know? And so that's why, right? That's why that I'm so fascinated and interested in loops, sample loop leasing. Like, the idea of multiple people having the same loops. I'm just fascinated on that concept and why people feel so strongly about royalty-free loops versus master clearance. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now. Shada said, can I send you loops with Haven? Yes, of course. And how can a producer engineer find a great lawyer? Okay, so you have two questions in one. First question is, of course, you can send me loops using Haven. Please send them to me. I want to hear all these. And the second is, how can a producer find a great lawyer? There's no like website that you can go to. I mean, there might be actually, but I would say the best place to find them would be LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. LinkedIn's probably the first place I would go, because a lot of them are on LinkedIn. So go to LinkedIn. Okay, so Judo Music just said, to sell samples, is it better to do it NFT format or just packs? Coming from someone who does both, I think we're still very early with NFTs. Don't sell an NFT until you completely understand what you're doing. You have to understand why an NFT is valuable and what the person buying your NFT, what they're going to get out of that purchase, what they're going to get out of their investment. And, you know, there's a lot of people that just like default to NFT because it's like they think it's a money grab, or they think that, you know, they can tap into a different audience and make money that way, which is true. The second part, true. But don't sell an NFT until you understand exactly why you're doing it and what you're doing, what an NFT is, what chain is it going to be on, is it resellable, right? Because here's the dilemma. Here's the dilemma, guys. I essentially sold the first NFT sample pack last year in February of last year. So almost 2 years ago. And it was great. And it was a great use case. But here's the thing. That person that bought my NFT sample pack, right? They have provable ownership of it. Everything about it is great. But the one thing that they're going to have issues with is if they resell that NFT, like if they list it on OpenSea and they flip it for money, which they could do, that means that they can't, they're not going to be the only person with those loops anymore. So if they had used those loops, which were intended to be used, and they used, let's say they used them, but now they want to flip it and sell it, they can do that, but now more than one person has those loops that they already used. So to the person buying it, it's not potentially not as valuable because the loops were already used. It's like selling used sneakers, right? Similar to that. Because the sample melody loops were intended to be used. They were intended to be used. So that's, you know, another logistical issue that producers don't think about, and musicians and people in the music industry just aren't even thinking about it. You know, and these are the things I think about. That's why I'm so passionate about this stuff, because I know that there's always you have to think about every scenario. Like, what are the implications of having a sample pack NFT, and how does that benefit? How does that even work? Does it even work? Okay. Iceper said, how do you stay focused for a long time when producing with headphones without having ear fatigue? Just not cranking it too loud. Not cranking it too loud and taking breaks, right? I'll usually take like small breaks in between each beat, Sometimes I'll jump right in. But I'll take small breaks. That really helps. And not playing the music too loud. Russian Cream Beats with the 5 dub. I appreciate you, Russian Cream Beats. Seriously, you don't have to do that, but appreciate it, man. That's going right back into the channel. So yeah, I wouldn't bump it too loud on the headphones. Okay. 9 to 5 music with another question. Guys, you have free to ask questions. I think we're wrapping up soon, but 9 to 5 music beats said, how often should you copyright your beats if you're making multiple beats per week, month? I don't copy. I've never copywritten a beat. I've never done it. So, look, if you want to protect your beats, go ahead and copyright them. But, I mean, think about it, dude. Like, how does that help? How does it help? I mean, it protects you from people stealing your beat. I mean, who's going to steal your beat? Who? What are the odds of that? How often is that going to happen? So, there's no return on your time investment there. Sitting there uploading, copyright.gov, copyright. Cool. The 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes that it will take you to copyright, you're better off making another beat. Think about it. No one cares. Let's see if I can get one more here. Okay, Simon Finnick said, is it true that if I change a sample so that no one recognizes it, I can use it? What is the legal basis for this topic? So, I always say this, use at your own risk. Use at your own risk. What a lot of people don't know, and the reason why I do know this is because I've spoken to a few of them, and I, do a lot of major label stuff, so I know that they have these, but there are these people called musicologists, and the job of a musicologist is to find where their samples are being used. Now, an extension of the musicologist is that there's actual technology now, and it's very powerful, and it's very clever, and the technology could go out and find every song that's released on any streaming platform that used their piece of music that they own, or whatever piece of music they input to search for. And so these types of softwares exist now. So to answer your question, every day that goes by, it becomes easier and easier for them to recognize. So it makes it harder and harder for you to get away with, taking a sample, changing it, and using it. Now, it all depends on the usage clause, what you use it for, who owns it, all that stuff you take into account. But, I would recommend, again, man, it's always the same answer. I wouldn't even really overthink it, man. I wouldn't overthink it. Like, if a lot of people are going to hear it, then you might want to be careful. But, like, if you use a sample, and it just depends on what you use it for. And I want to be politically correct. I don't want to tell you to go ahead and do it. All right? Because there's legal implications to everything. Okay? So. All right, guys, it's 11:03. It's about that time. Yeah. All right, guys. I appreciate you so much. This was such a great week. Apologies for the no stream on Monday. Once again, we're on a tight deadline here. We're working on a bunch of things. Can't wait to start showing you all this stuff we're doing. But I want to say shout out to my Squatter Knights NFT holder. Shout out to my monthly members, my Lodies, my Blap Gods, IPCs, everyone that's in here, man. I appreciate you being here. So we do these every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just free live streams, Q&As, just talking to you guys. It's almost like doing Pass the Aux every morning, 3 days a week. So it's a lot of fun. Everyone is welcome. So if you're new here, I appreciate you. Hit the subscribe button so you can chat with us live, and hit the bell notification so you know when I go live, and then also hit the like button. I know that's, super YouTube thing that you need to do to get the algorithm going. So let's get that going. I appreciate you guys. So I want every single one of you guys hit the like button down below right now, before you go. And our next stream will be, in fact, Monday. I was going to maybe do a live stream on Friday, but I don't think I'm going to be able to pull it off. I'm pretty sporadic, so if I do, obviously you'll see it. You'll get the memo. I'll let you know. So hit the bell icon so you know. But as of right now, our next live stream is Monday of next week. So happy hump day. Enjoy the rest of your week. It's August already. Virgo season is approaching. So enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the weekend. I'll see all of you on Monday. Squad of Knights, all my Squad of Knights, get in the Discord. We have some new stuff coming. Couple new announcements. And shout out to everyone who has a new plugin, Haven. You guys see my YouTube videos. I've been posting a lot about Haven. If you make loops or full beats using Haven, feel free to send them my way. But definitely excited to know that you guys are leveling up with my new plugin. So go to enrichaudio.com. I got some more plugins I'm working on for Enrich Audio. So we're going pedal to the metal here. So I'll see you Monday next week. I'm out. One love.
Any opportunity to celebrate, it's always diamonds up.